Welcome to the show. It's been a busy few weeks for blockchain in Dublin, and Crypto AM was there to catch all the action. But first up, let's have a look at what we have for you in the show.
So I'm very lucky that I'm in a position to be able to shout about it. People want to listen because blockchain's sexy and AI is sexy.
Perfect security doesn't exist. It's always a game of cat and mouse, trying to outpace the hackers.
Work with an organisation now, I hear everything about the Internet of Things, I hear blockchain, artificial intelligence.
Dublin's been able to attract some of the leading tech companies from around the world, and many of those tech companies, and certainly their employees, are looking at blockchain technology.
What's going to happen tomorrow, and make sure that you always are one step ahead of the hackers that are out there.
So I think the way we do reviews and basic things like reputation systems, TripAdvisor, Yelp, all of that is just dying to be revolutionized.
In fact, it is mirroring the behavior of a basket of 15 currencies and gold. The idea is to replicate the world economy.
The idea that I don't just have to buy my energy from X over there that's producing it in a distant part of the country, but I can also supplement that by buying, closer to my home.
Crypto AM, we're out and about again. This time we're in the RDS in Ballsbridge, Dublin. It's the first ever MoneyConf event. It's all about money, it's all about fintech.
Imogen, thanks for talking to Crypto Coast.
Pleasure, thank you.
You're here today, MoneyConf, to promote your Mycelia Creative Passport project.
I guess it has become into promoting, yeah, because we now have a thing. We didn't have a thing before. Now we actually have a thing, yeah.
Can you just, I suppose, quickly outline what it is?
Yeah. So this is the physical embodiment, an example really of the digital version of this, which is to empower musicians with a point on the planet, the digital planet, to represent themselves. So to represent themselves outward. So skill sets, songs, passions, projects, collaborators on one side to help you find meaningful to help people find you for collaboration or for business opportunities, creating easier ways to have all your information about who to pay, how to pay, to really be that connective tissue in the music industry by being digitally empowered and organised with our data.
Because musicians have been, I suppose, exploited for so long, particularly in the digital space, that obviously bring them together with the power of community. You have so much to gain from helping each other.
Yeah, I think whether it's, it's it didn't happen on purpose, I don't think. We weren't like kind of sidelined out of it. It's just up until now there hadn't been a real obvious solution as how we were going to somehow materialise this database, this community. But as everyone is like, the top of everyone's agenda is identity and decentralization and AI, then so many people are approaching this problem too for all other different industries. So it's great to be in a place, I'm very lucky that I'm in a position to be able to shout about it. People want to listen because blockchain's sexy and AI is sexy. And to try to grow it from the ground up, because I have a tour coming up.
What I do love about you and this project is that you seem to approach, like this is a startup, but you approach it probably in the same way that you would a creative project or like your art.
Yeah.
And I think that's real innovation, because there's a lot of talk about innovation these days, but creativity really is innovation. Yeah. Do you approach it in that way?
Not intentionally, but I probably don't know any different. I've always shared my process when I make a record. I'm not like behind closed doors, nobody knows what I'm doing. I really love to share, because essentially when you share, you find people along the way that come and kind of get excited about it, and they help you, and they end up start working with you and developing it together. I mean, this is much like an album in a way, I'm putting in the risk to develop something that I really care about, that I'm really passionate about. I want to bring something to life, I want to create something. But in order to do that on your own, it's costly, and it's and you need a lot of people to make a successful album. And it's the same with this. So really, that kind of
it is collaborative. Does that mean that you relinquish some sort of control to your collaborators, or is it
for this?
Yeah.
I don't own this. I mean, at the moment, there's no kind of, I'm not going to take a piece of anything. There's no like, this service won't come on and give me £1 for every, I'm not going to have anything from this. I just want this to exist because I want it to exist. As a musician, I just want to have this, and I want it to, I just got fed up with the music industry being difficult to do business with. And as a musician, so much of my time goes into admin, and I really don't want my time to be going into admin. I want to be able to, start developing more creative partnerships, and I want to find collaborators. I want to work on things that really mean stuff to me, and I want to reach out there and help people find me.
So if I'm a young musician, I'm starting off on my journey, how do I get involved?
Well, you can go onto the website and sign up. But in September, we'll be going to visit 40 cities around the world, and we're going to be kind of like the embassy of the creative passport. So any music makers that come in, we're going to verify them, and local people are going to verify other music makers, and then they're going to take it outside of the workshop, and then they're going to help verify their music makers. And as we have these different, maybe one music maker has 5 different people who verify them, then they're pretty secure. Each place we're going to do a conference, each place we're going to do a workshop, a talk, a live show.
A tour.
A tour, basically. Yeah, exactly. It's really approaching it like a tour.
So we announced that as of today, we plan to hire 50 new staff members for our Dublin headquarters. And in addition, that we've announced a strategic advisory group headquartered out of New York with some of the most well-recognized blockchain investment bankers leading the initiative.
That's a great vote of confidence, I think, for Dublin as sort of a hub of blockchain activity. Why Dublin?
Here in Dublin, you have some unbelievably brilliant people. It's a great education system. They speak English. It's in the EU. And it's about the same flight from New York, which is where I'm from originally, as San Francisco. You can't beat it. And from Dublin, we've seen a lot of interest in our overall global operations. And we feel that if we hire more people here, more high-paid professionals, that we can actually go and further expand our services. And the Strategic Advisory Group gives us a new category of people to hire, which includes management consultants, technical consultants like systems architects, and bankers as well.
Is the existing talent here already, or are you looking to attract people into Dublin?
Well, we prefer to hire people from Ireland. That's the vast majority of our Irish office is indeed Irish people. And we see that there's certainly a supply of those, especially in the technology industry. Dublin's been able to attract some of the leading tech companies from around the world, and many of those tech companies, and certainly their employees, are looking at blockchain technology. And since Wachsman is one of the leading blockchain professional services companies in the world, it would make sense that some of those people might want to work with us too.
Now, there have been some questions around infrastructure and housing and that kind of thing, and it's certainly a question that it's something that you have to think about when you're going to expand. Is that something you've put thought into?
Indeed. Actually, one thing we're really looking for is we would like to go and talk to as many property developers as possible for commercial space. We're looking to dramatically expand. So far, we've been located in the Digital Hub, which has been an incredible partner for Wachsman. We currently have, I think, about 5,000 square feet cumulatively. We need to dramatically expand either between 10 and 15,000 square feet as soon as possible, and we're hoping that a commercial developer out there might get in touch with us.
What we do is securing the endpoint of crypto and blockchain applications. And we are a French company. And basically, from a technological point of view, we come from the smart card industry, in the secure chips. The technologies that you will find in your passport, in the chip and pin credit card, in the SIM cards. And in France, we have a lot of companies who have developed solutions to secure the financial industry, for instance, or identity, etc. So in 2013, so 5 years ago, our CTO, Nicolas Bacca, started to work on taking all his experience in the smart card industry and to apply that to the cryptocurrency world, to secure Bitcoin, because at the time it was only about Bitcoin. And basically we all share the same vision that the blockchain technology and cryptocurrency couldn't scale without security. And this was the foundation of Ledger. We started to ship our first units, hardware wallets, digital safe in 2014. And I have to say that for 3 years, not many people understood why we were doing that. Because when you speak about cryptocurrency, virtual currency, it's all about the cloud, it's all about removing all the materiality. And so why would you need a hardware? Why would I need to buy a hardware piece when we are at the age of the cloud? But little by little, with the experience of users losing their money, of the exchanges going bust, and the lack, let's say, of trust that you could put on the software wallets, the users understood that to have a real security, you need to secure your private key. And when you think about it, cryptocurrencies are much more, let's say, material than when we think, because when you own Bitcoin, what you own is a private keys and information, and information must be secure. And so you need to have a digital safe to have it, because if you keep it on your computer, then it's just a matter of time before it can get extracted, because it has not been built for security. So after a few years, it began really to become something very important for the community. And now it's more like a horizontal technology securing most of the endpoints.
MoneyConf has really been a big success, I think. It's benefited from being a smaller event and more industry focused. Everybody seems to know each other, and it's very easy to meet people and network. We've done some great interviews, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for the longer form interviews. And thanks again for watching. After MoneyConf, we had our first ever Crypto Coast Summer Soirée party. Thanks to our sponsors, Peer Mountain and Globecoin. I think we had a really wonderful time, some thought-provoking discussions, some great debate, looking at the big ideas behind blockchain and crypto. We can't wait for the next one. Jed, thanks for talking to us. It's an honour to have you sponsor this Crypto Coast event.
Nice to be here.
What brought you to Dublin?
MoneyConf brought me to Dublin, and this event, of course, the chance to do this in the evening, so connect with like minds.
How did you get on at MoneyConf?
It's an interesting conference. A lot of people there. It's some good exhibitors, some good talks. A lot of people who don't know what's going to hit them, and traditional bankers that are walking around not understanding what's happening here.
And how does Peer Mountain fit into this coming wave of...
Peer Mountain is really well positioned. What Peer Mountain is this B2B2C, and it is actually a decentralized economy of trust. So it's designed to facilitate frictionless regulatory commerce, okay, regulated commerce. So what it does is aggregate digital identities, whether they're self-sovereign, national, or even foundation documents like pictures of passports and whatnot, and allows a consumer to own all that in a wallet that's held in a mobile device with an SDK. And then to use that with businesses that are under a regulatory regime, whether that's simple like the sale of alcohol or tobacco, up to a regulatory regime like a financial regulator, where they can define all the regulatory requirements for a service to be delivered. The consumer can then share the minimum that's needed, like a zero knowledge proof to prove age to buy alcohol, or a full dossier to get compliance to get a loan to buy a car. And all of that can be done on-chain and very, very efficiently in a few minutes, because the consumer manages their information and the service provider knows exactly what they need, and they see it digitally in real time. Everything is digitally signed. There's EIDAS compliant, timestamped digital signatures in there. So it's really an ecosystem of trust. The third party that plays in this is a attestation provider, we call it, and that's an entity that vouches for the facts that the consumer has. And that could be Jumio, Mitek, Thomson Reuters, that can be Civic. It's validating an identity. So it's this type of environment, and it's up to the service provider to choose the trust providers that they're going to use. Trust providers earn, service providers pay to get consumers. The tokenomics are rather straightforward.
We're ranked number 10 out of 127 countries in the world for innovation, 6th most innovative country in Europe. When I joined IDA back in 2014, we set a strategy to have multinationals invest 3 billion euros in innovation, research, development and innovation by 2019. That was achieved 2 years early. So there's a lot of activity happening from an RD&I perspective in Ireland at the moment.
Tell me a little bit about Uncloak, and I suppose, first of all, where the name came from.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it's been quite a difficult time trying to find out the right name for the business, but uncloak, it means obviously to unveil or to take off. And so the whole aim is that we've designed a solution that is able to look at a business's computer systems like Windows or laptops, desktops, and tell you exactly what weaknesses that you've got in terms of security weaknesses in your system, and be able to give you a report on these are weaknesses that you need to sort out and resolve within your business. And that's basically where we've come to the whole name of Uncloak.
And this is for every kind of business, from
Absolutely.
the one person on a laptop to...
Absolutely. I mean, if we take into consideration that 96% of businesses are less than 250 members of staff, and most of these businesses don't have access to any competent IT security help. So our whole aim with Uncloak is to provide a solution that it almost works like a virtual IT security person that is looking after your system 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and making sure that your system is up to scratch and that it's completely secure. And that's basically what Uncloak does.
Would you be aligned to like the sort of white hat hacking kind of philosophy?
Yeah,
or?
Absolutely. So, obviously there's a quick difference. I mean, a white hat is obviously someone who's an ethical hacker that is being vetted by an organization to break into your system on purpose and tell you where your weaknesses are. And a black hat obviously is the inverse opposite of that. And so really in the day, what our system aims to do is behave like a virtual white hat hacker, looking at your system, telling you exactly what issues you've got, coupled with the ability that we go out using artificial intelligence and are able to tell you about the threats that are coming through. So a vulnerability is a very present issue or weakness in your system, and a threat is like an issue that could cause issues with your system. And so what we want to do is tell you what issues you've got, what issues could appear in the future, and we do this literally in a complete and automated fashion, which is pretty amazing.
Because we like to talk about, crypto and blockchain.
Yes.
What kind of vulnerabilities exist in blockchain?
Well, the main issue you've got with blockchain vulnerabilities in terms of infrastructure. So if there's any particular protocol that's been designed or infrastructure in blockchain, like anything that's designed by a human, there's a flaw in it. So the bottom line is that sometimes it's down to poor code, and a lot of times is that with the way products are designed nowadays, it's all about speed to market, how quickly you can get into the market. Unfortunately, when you bring something to the market very quickly, there's bound to be a lot more flaws because you haven't done the stringent tests that are required. So there's a lot of blockchain and infrastructure products that are coming through that haven't been properly pen tested or security tested or audited properly. And these are the type of issues that are coming up all the time. And so, unfortunately, blockchain is still quite a small market, and it's a very vulnerable market and quite a fragile market. And it's very important that the organizations that are creating blockchain infrastructure, protocols and products and solutions are properly using the right level of security audits to make sure that they are robust enough, because the world's watching us.
Okay, so some people will say, okay, why should we be affected by the value of our national currency? Because we'll stay in our country. Just because the economy is so global that the price of the cup of coffee in Dublin is directly affected by the rate of the euro against, let's say, the Brazilian real, because we import the coffee. And so it's not true to say that we are not affected if we stay in the country, because we are global.
Thanks for talking to us, Will.
Pleasure. Great to be here for the soiree.
Yeah. Can you give us a little bit of background about LO3 and what you guys are doing?
Sure. So LO3 was set up in 2014. It's focused around the transformation in energy markets, particularly around distributed energy, and that's off the back of growth of renewable energy, alongside storage, electric vehicles, smart appliances. Business is best known for Brooklyn Microgrid, which is a peer-to-peer grid where you have prosumers who are generating energy and consumers. And we're currently working on Exergy, which is a project of LO3 that's focused on a bigger picture, where I think there's a lot of upside around data. So data in energy markets, particularly edge of the grid, and incentivizing people for sharing that data.
So this might be like how and why you use your energy and data?
Yeah, so I think at the moment, energy is a very static thing. So you pay per kilowatt hour, it tends to be a fixed price. You have no visibility on where that energy was generated, when it was generated, what the state of the grid was when it was generated. And I think we'll start to see a lot more dynamism coming into the market. And I think the point about the data is that as you get this change from a very vertical centralized energy system to one where you have more solar, wind, kind of that's closer to the point of consumption. If the data stays siloed, then you get a lot of inefficiencies baked into the system. Whereas if it's joined up, so providers know when you're when you're consuming a lot of energy, when they know where electric vehicles are, then they can start to offer solutions that match to that. So you start to get a grid that is more flexible, but is also matched to the profile. Whereas if you bake in a lot of these, I suppose, sort of lack of matching between demand and production, then you create a lot of inefficiencies. So I think peer-to-peer is a key part of this, but it's not the only part. So the ability to transact your surplus energy or surplus capacity is really exciting. So, the fact that you've got an asset that you can monetize, or even the concept of negawatts, so kind of being paid not to consume. So, you think about managing when you do your washing, when you put the tumble dryer on, moving that to a point where there's less stress in terms of the grid when energy is cheaper. That makes sense.
Sure, well, Globcoin is a stable coin. In fact, it is mirroring the behavior of a basket of 15 currencies and gold. The idea is to replicate the world economy through fiat currencies, but not only one, but the 15 largest currencies in the world.
Have you already gone to ICO, or?
We did a small ICO to have a specific access, a kind of VIP access to this basket. And we will not do an ICO for the launching of the basket. Why? Because it's a stable currency, so there is no potentially real appreciation of this token. What we want is to be an alternative to Tether, either for exchange or for funds or for cryptocurrency holders that want to park their performance for a while and be immune of the market gyrations, of the volatility of most of cryptocurrencies.
And it is a very volatile market.
Yeah, it is a very volatile market. I'm a big believer in all those coins, and of course starting with Bitcoin. But I think sometimes it's good management, to have part of your portfolio immune. And suppose you had a very good crystal ball in December, and the crystal ball said the market will tank. It was not easy to do something. Either you would buy some Tether with every old rumor that are in the market, or you would probably use some futures, Bitcoin futures. But the problem with futures is a call margin, and it's not very liquid. And otherwise, you had to go back to fiat, but then you are leaving the cryptocurrency world on the fiat side, and it's completely different. And it has consequences in your management. So in fact, there were not a lot of alternatives. Now there are more and more projects on the stablecoin, but I think we are the only one with a real mirroring the world economy. So we are very excited on that.
How do you maintain the stability?
By construction. It's not an AI process. I know that there are some stable coins who are using AI, artificial intelligence process. It's done by diversification. Having 15 currencies, by definition, you will be very stable because you are diversified. It's as simple as that. And we have been, in fact, managing this basket of currency for the last 6 or 7 years for big institutions. Before blockchain, we could not offer that to the man of the street because FX market is more big amounts. But now we can tokenize this basket into small pieces and offer that to either small pieces or big pieces for hedge funds, for example. And that's the beauty of blockchain, in fact.
So it really is amazing how much this whole blockchain and crypto space is growing in Dublin and internationally. We've been busy. I know you have. Watch your space. There's plenty more to come. Thanks for watching. I'm Hugo McCafferty, and you've been watching Crypto AM.